Good morning, everybody. It's Geoff Goldberg for the Sales Pro Network. It is October 28th, Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern. And as you know, every week at this time, we either do a training or a live interview. As some of you know, I'm a sales coach and trainer. I work with both individuals and organizations across the world to help them get measurable and sustainable sales increases. And I founded the Sales Pro Network as a place where salespeople can come and hang out, network with each other, learn and earn. And my goal is to help you earn more money and to elevate the profession of sales. And as I mentioned, every Friday at 10 a.m., we either do a live training or I bring you somebody who can add value to the profession of sales. And once again, my friends, today is no exception. Please meet my new friend, Geoff McLachlan. Good morning, Geoff.
Good morning, Geoff. How are you today?
I'm absolutely outstanding. How about yourself?
Absolutely outstanding as well. I mean, it's always good to be on a podcast or on a show with somebody else with a fabulous name. So
except only one of us is spelling it right, and I'm not sure which one.
That's the great debate, but that's okay. We can leave that to the fans.
Fair enough. So why don't we start out, Geoff, with why don't you tell us a little bit about your background and what brought you up to this point?
Well, it's funny. I started my play. I'm professionals at play, and I started playing when I was a kid, and so that's where I really started, truly. But that ended up bringing me into the world of education, and I started off as a kindergarten teacher. And so I can imagine, you can imagine the screams of terror as kids walked into the classroom and parents handed their children off to this big furry, guy and going, why are you here? And I'm like, I'm the teacher. Give me your kid. This is going to be great. And then there was a lot of terror, and I had a lot of meetings with parents and principals. And I realized I didn't fit the classroom. I loved the classroom. I loved working with kids. But at the same time, I realized the politics and the procedures that are required for public school were not my thing. And so I adored the people. I still have a passion for working with students and educators. But I eventually had to get out. So I do now work again with students and people and help them, engage their communities, engage their coworkers, their friends in a positive way through play. And so, yeah, that's kind of how I got here.
Great. We're definitely going to talk about play. But before we do that, I forgot to mention, if you're watching us live, please say hello in the comments. If you're watching us live on Facebook and you have not connected your StreamYard account to Facebook, excuse me, I won't know who you are. It's just going to say Facebook user. So if you're on Facebook and you haven't done that, you say hello, please put your name in there. If you have any questions for Geoff during the show, please put them in there and I'll pass those along. And if you're watching us on the replay, please put replay in the comments. So Geoff, I love the name of your company. We're going to get into that. But your mantra is, if it isn't fun, we don't want to do it. Are you saying that we shouldn't do anything that's not fun? Or are you saying there's a way to make everything fun?
I'm saying there's a way to make almost everything fun. And that the key to that, because I've had a lot, I don't know about you, Geoff, but I've had a lot of jobs where it was not fun work. I've literally been mid-thigh deep in cow excrement. Not a fun job, not at all. But if you can laugh about it, if you can, take the situation and, you're a comedian, you're a stand-up comedian. So if you can take the situation and have a laugh at it, it changes your physiological being. Laughter and joy, they change how you are as a human being. And if you can take a job, a mundane experience, and try and find the fun, even just trying to smile through it. I can't remember who did the experiment. It was a scientist that was studying pain, and they realized that if you smile or laugh when you're in pain, it actually decreases the level of pain. So you can actually take a painful experience, a painful job, you can laugh at it, and it will lower that pain. It actually increases your pain threshold, which thus lowers your pain.
Wow, that's right in line with what I believe, and I'm not a scientist, but I've done a lot of personal development work over the years, and I've learned a lot of things. And one of the things I've come to realize is the incredible power of the brain, and that almost everything is in our heads, anyways. And a perfect example was, I did something called the EST training, which became the landmark form, and they talked about stubbing your toe. So you stub your toe, and the first thing you do is you usually grab it. You go, "Oh, that hurts." And I've trained myself to, when something like that happens, to go, all right, I stubbed my toe, I'm okay. And there is a difference in the pain. And another great example, you're a professional speaker, so you can probably relate. There's sometimes when you're standing off stage and they're about to, say your name and do your introduction. And I suffer from bad allergies in the spring. There's about 3 weeks when my eyes, I want to rip them out of my head, and my nose is dripping, but it's the eyeballs to me. And
Yeah.
I've had situations where I'm just about to walk on a stage where I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to get through this. I want to, it feels like there are hot needles and sand being poked into my eyes all at the same time. And there's just nothing I've been able to find to do about it. But standing there in the back going, how am I going to make it through this? But as soon as I hear, ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to introduce Geoff Goldberg, and I walk onto the stage, for some reason, for an hour, I don't feel my allergies. So it really does show you the power of what's going on in your mind and how you can actually influence what you're feeling and thinking about almost anything. Obviously, there are instances, if you break your arm, it's kind of hard to go, I'm not in pain, but you can certainly lessen it. And I believe every salesperson should have what I call an ideal client profile. Here's what my ideal client looked like. And one of my things about an ideal client is they got to be fun to work with, because if not, I'm not going to work with them. And you say not just play, but work should be fun. How do we make fun? How do we make work be fun when it doesn't feel like fun? And the perfect example for sales is cold calling. I get into a lot of disagreements with people about, should I be doing it? Shouldn't I be doing it? I say personally, don't do it if you don't want to, but it's still the most cost-effective and time-efficient way to fill up your calendar with appointments if you don't have enough. But I personally never figured out a way to make that fun, because there's a lot of pain in cold calling. How do we make the stuff that doesn't feel like fun into fun?
Well, it's a great question. Specifically, let's look at that cold calling example. It's uncomfortable, right? You're calling a stranger. You have no idea. There's a 96% chance they're going to scream at you and hang up. So you take that and you say, well, wait a minute. What would happen if I moved it from 96% no to 95% no? What if I just got that extra 1%? What could I do? Where can I experiment? Is it just the simple hello? Because I'll tell you right now, I've actually talked to cold calls if the person sounds like they're happy. If somebody says, hello, I'm so excited to talk to you today. I just wanted to talk to you about this. Or do you have just a few minutes to listen? Oftentimes, if I'm like, oh, if I have the time, yeah, I will listen to that person, because if they sound excited, they sound happy, I am more likely to be like, okay, sure, I'll give you a little bit of my time. It's the ones that all of a sudden are like, hello, I'm calling from, and I'm like, nope, click. And so I think if you can have that fun, if you can find a little bit of challenge and enjoyment in that process, maybe you change the way your greeting sounds, change the tone of your voice up or down, change the playfulness of things. It might actually make a difference. And if you go at it as a challenge and you look at the cold calling and say, I got to get through these 100 calls today. Okay, that's going to take me, if I actually connected with 100 calls, you're not going to get through it, right? But if you said, hey, I got 10 calls and 10 out of 10 of those actually listened to me and 5 of them booked a follow-up call, you'd be like one of the most successful cold callers of all time, right? So if you can take that, the pressure, the drudgery, which let's call it, let's face it, cold calling is drudgery. Nobody wants to do it. It's not fun. But at the same time, if you can take it and you can say, wait a minute, I'm going to see how many I can get through today in this amount of time, and I'm going to shoot for this goal. And I'm just going to have fun with it. And you change your physiology. If you jump up and down and you run around the office for like 2 or 3 minutes, and then you get on a call, you're going to sound different because you haven't been sitting down at a desk the whole time. You're a comedian. Watch every, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, watch a little 3 to 5 minute clip of your favorite comedian. Give yourself a little bit of joy and laughter, and then get back on it. It changes the way the tone of your voice and how things come out of you. People can sense that. People can hear that. And so I think if you can make that part of it fun, not necessarily the getting yelled at, because nobody likes to get yelled at. Why are you calling me at dinner time? I don't call you at dinner time. Blah. Oh, I'm sorry, sir. You're breaking up. Thanks. Bye. So if you can start to engage in the process in a different way, that's about you. You can't control anything outside of you, right? So again, that's that mental principle, mental work is you can't control anybody outside of you. You can only control you. So if you can control how you're coming across, you can control your attitude, you can control how you feel, exercise, diet, sleep, all those things, then you have more control of your life. You're going to be better at what you do, no matter what it is. So coming at it from that perspective, I think for me, fun is trying to figure out problems. I love solving problems. And so if I can look at a problem and go, what do I need to do differently? Because if this thing results in this, and I do it this way, and I always get this result, if I change it to this, does this do this? And so having fun experimenting with different, heck, sometimes when I get those calls, I can't actually understand what a person's saying. Throw on a fake British accent and see what happens. Why not?
Have fun. Yes, exactly right.
Yeah.
You said so many great things in there. I'm not sure I can unpack them all, but before I do, let me just say hello to some people. Facebook user says, good morning from Texas. I'm assuming that's our friend, Fran Cole-Hebler. Good morning, Fran. Don Levine of Sharp Search. Good to see you, my friend. And good morning, all. Don't know if I'm on through StreamYard or not. Can you see my name? It's Larry Weiss. I can't see your name, Larry Weiss, but glad that you're with us, Larry the phone guy. I too love solving problems. I'm the kind of crazy man that says, oh, you got something from IKEA? I'll come put it together for you. I love doing that kind of stuff. I love figuring things out. And when I used to cold call, I only do it once a month now for about an hour just to make sure that what I'm teaching people is still working. But I always made a game out of it. My game was, okay, if I make 7 calls, not that I got through to 7 people, not that I got 7 appointments, I make 7 calls, I'm going to give myself a reward. Now, it could be I'm just going to get up and walk around. Yeah. I'm going to allow myself to go to the bathroom. I might get a treat out of the something like that. So there was a reward after every little bit, because making hours and hours of them is drudgery. I like making it into a game. And I can't stress enough what you said about tone of voice. You don't have to be over the top. You don't have to be, hey, it's Geoff in the morning with your news and traffic next. You don't have to be that guy. But if I get, well, first of all, I listen to every cold call because I can often turn that into an opportunity. Hey, you did a really great job. Why don't you give me your manager's name so I can either write to them or give them a call and let them know what a great job you did. And when I get on, of course, I said, hey, I'm a sales trainer. Can I give you some feedback on the call I just had with your horrible salesperson? But you should have somewhat of an enthusiastic tone of voice, because if you sound like you're depressed, you're reading from your script, then why would I want to listen to you? There's an expert that I follow quite closely. I've interviewed him twice on here. His name is Jason Bay, young guy, really brilliant about this. And he teaches permission-based marketing, which is you have that nice tone. It's like, hey, you know what? I'm sure I caught you at a bad moment, but if you have just 30 seconds, I'll share with you why I'm calling, and you can let me know at the end whether you want to continue or not. It's not that pressure pitch, which, by the way, I taught for years and years and years. I really like the ease of it. And finally, what you said about, get up and walk around. I'm a big Tony Robbins fan. He's been saying that for years. Motion equals emotion. I teach people to stand up when they make calls. Absolutely. And I was taught that by, the guy I used to work for who wrote the book on cold calling. I walked into his office and there was a podium there. On an interview, there's a podium. I'm like, why do you have a podium in your office? Because, you practice professional speaking. He goes, no. I'm like, well, why do you have it? He goes, walk over to it, Geoff. So I walk over. There's a phone on it. I said, why is there a phone on your podium? Because I sound better when I stand up, and I tend to motion more naturally like I do in a real conversation. I'm like, well, that's freaking brilliant.
Yep.
So, dial the phone, stand up, because you do sound better. You have a passion for bringing people together for a common goal. How did that happen?
Oh, man. Yeah, honestly, I think that stems from my childhood. So I was very lucky to grow up when I did, where I did. I was born last century, pretty old, last century. It's a long time ago, apparently now. And I was lucky to grow up in the 70s and 80s. And so pre-cell phones, pre-technology. My great grandfather bought 2 miles of beachfront and 300 acres in Liberty Lake, Washington, in 1942. And so it was, at the time, absolutely nothing there. There's literally nothing there. It's just this tiny little pothole lake. And so he developed it over the course of decades. And my grandmother bought it with her sister and turned it into a resort. And so I grew up in the summertime on a resort on the lake, and there was a playground, there was, a dock, we had, slides. I mean, we had the whole thing. And so our family has been in the business of bringing people together and providing experiences for as long as I've been alive on the planet. That's actually my first jobs. My first jobs were working at the at the resort. As kids, we had to clean up pine cones on the playground. That was our first job. And of course, my grandmother would pay us a penny per pine cone, which I thought this was brilliant. She was absolutely wonderful. She'd give you a bag, you'd go fill it up. She'd come back and go, congratulations, you were first. Here's another bag. See if you can beat everybody else. And so it was a game. And so we'd run around, we'd pick up all the pine cones, not realizing we were doing part of the cleaning of the actual resort. And so she would then pay us. She'd give us our 50 cents. She'd be like, that's about 50 pine cones. She goes, now you can have the money, or you can take the money and you can go in the store and you can buy a piece of candy, which of course she bought for, 2.5 cents. So we'd give her money back and we'd get a piece of candy. It was the biggest racket ever. My grandmother was brilliant. So
Brilliant.
but
Great salesperson.
Great salesperson. Oh my goodness. She is phenomenal. She was phenomenal. She's just absolutely wonderful. So that's really kind of where I grew up in bringing people together was from my childhood. And it just kept going, snowballing. In middle school, I was in sports. High school, played sports in college, got into theater in college, and, did education. And now I'm professional speaker, trainer, and coach, and been doing that for the last almost 20 years now. So
Got it. It's awesome. Good morning, Ray Aurora, who says, good morning, Geoff and Jeff. And he spelled both right. I think, no, Ray, you either broke your arm or your leg. I hope you're feeling better. And Larry Weiss said, I have a stand-up desk. I make all calls while standing. I'm at a stand-up desk right now. Guys, if you don't have some kind of a stand-up desk, I urge you to get one. I sit on my butt way too often. And my desk is not electric. It doesn't rise. It's kind of a piece that goes on top of the desk, made by flexispot.com. I don't remember how much it costs, but well worth it. When I'm feeling my butt, I just too much. It's like stand up, stretch, motion equals emotion. I just feel better. I sound better when I'm standing. So keep that in mind, guys. You posted a meme. I always go to people's LinkedIn feeds, and you posted a meme that said, mindset is everything. And you asked whether people agree or disagree. What do you think? Is mindset everything?
I think mindset is the start of everything. So mindset is how you think about everything. Realistically, your metacognition is how you think about your thinking. And if you have the self-awareness to go, why do I think that? What's going on in my brain? What's happening to me? You have this ability to change your actions. So mindset is the beginning of it. Action is the other part of it. If you don't have action, you can think about everything you want and nothing's going to happen because you don't have any action. I can think about working out and that will help me. It will get me in the mood, maybe, but I have to actually physically go to the gym and do the workout. And so the mental part is what kicks things off and gets things going. And so I think it's, 90% of the game is 50% of the game is 90% mental. Is that how that goes?
Not sure, but it's something like that.
Yeah. So it's a huge.
I know it's 90% is showing up.
Exactly. Yeah, just showing up. I mean, getting the person who gets out of bed and goes to the gym is going to be far better off than the person that just stays in bed the whole day.
Yeah, I have a friend, Geoff Keller, who wrote a book called Attitude is Everything, which is very similar. And I've often said, it's not everything. It's damn important, though. Because what you think is the way you feel, the way you believe, how you act. And you use the term metacognition. There's another term I saw that you had mentioned that I was unfamiliar with. What is neuroplasticity?
Neuroplasticity. This one's just coming out now, and I love neuroplasticity because it's the ability of your brain to expand and do new things. And so, when we're kids, if you watch children learn through failure so fast. They fail more than anybody else. They fail all the time. Hundreds, if not thousands of times a day, children fail, and that's how they learn. So what they're doing is they're actually creating neural pathways. And those pathways, the more you do something, the deeper that pathway gets. And that's how we create habits. And so if as an adult, we get stuck in our ways, right? We get curmudgeonly and we're like, well, this is how we do things. This is what we're going to do all the time. And so we as adults need to practice neuroplasticity. Sorry, my kids are just getting up and walking around the house now. So that neuroplasticity for adults can be more challenging. But like you said you like to, solve puzzles. Somebody has an IKEA thing. you're actually building neuroplasticity because you're starting to think outside the box. You're looking at pieces and going, how do I put these things together? Where does this thing go? Because the directions are in a different language and I don't understand them. So let's build something out of this. So as adults, playing with Lego, creating things, thinking outside the box. If you like puzzles, that's great, but you can get into a neural pathway that's just puzzles. And so I'm like, I like puzzles. I like puzzles. I like puzzles. Well, what happens if you had to create something with another person and it wasn't necessarily a puzzle because there was no correct way to do it? You just had to build something and here's your tools. Go. Now, all of a sudden, you're taking your puzzle part of your brain and you're applying it to something else. That's neuroplasticity. And so helping your brain to think differently in different situations, it's a brilliant thing to do, especially for salespeople in dealing with different kinds of reactions. If you have somebody who's angry or grouchy or super happy or, yes, but, if you get yes, but people, great. How do we change that to a yes, and? You take theater sports and you apply theater sports to your profession, which I'm sure you've done. And that is a practice for neuroplasticity. It helps you engage your brain in different ways and helps open and expand different parts of your brain so you can access different things when you need them. And that's neuroplasticity. I love it. It's fascinating. We're just starting to discover it in the last 10 years or so.
Very cool. I love big words and I love learning new stuff. So when I saw that one, I said, I got to ask. And by the way, I think the thing I love most about IKEA stuff is that I love looking at the directions going, what the heck does that mean? Because it's like you look at them and go, I don't understand what they're talking about, but I love the figuring things out. Somebody says, good morning, gentlemen. Thank you for considering us gentlemen, but we don't know who you are, but good morning to you too.
Well, okay, Geoff, I got to say, as soon as you said you love putting things together, I am right in the middle of a project right now. I bought a shed kit. So I'm building a shed in my backyard, and it came out of Ontario, Canada. And it's beautiful. It's going to be beautiful, but it's 2 stories. It's a big shed. It's a legit construction project. And we keep looking at the directions going, that doesn't make sense. How okay, I see the picture, but the words don't match the picture. How? And thank heavens I have my best friend's an engineer, and thank God he's here because he's looking at things and he plans everything out, and he's 2 or 3 days ahead, and he's like, well, this is what we're going to do here, and this is what we're going to do here. I'm just like, give me a hammer, I'll whack something. I don't care. Just don't hit the people. Got it. Okay, cool. Yeah. So
no, I am a directions guy. In fact, I just read an article, I think it was last week, about some guy who was in India. I don't remember where he was in the world, but he had bought a plane kit to build an airplane, and he built this airplane. And the first thing I thought of, oh, that sounds good, man. I don't have a backyard big enough for it, but boy, oh boy, building an airplane sounds. You better be pretty sure of yourself if you build an airplane and then get in and fly it. There's a whole thing. They come out and check it for you, and FAA has to. Must have been America if it was FAA. But they have to approve it. But that sounds really cool because there's a lot of little parts, and they all have to go together, and it's not all just dowels and those weird screws.
Dude, it literally was 8,000 pounds of material that showed up in 3 boxes. We had to unload them, and then it's like, okay, here's your stuff, build it. And so you don't necessarily know, and there's no rhyme or reason as to where parts are. So you have to sort through literally thousands of pieces. I mean, there's pieces that are literally a block of wood, like a 2x2 square block of wood, that have to go in there in a certain space. And you're like, where does this? I don't understand. What's? Am I being punked? Is Ashton Kutcher out here? Where's the camera? Come on, guys.
Well, my favorite is when there's like 12 different sizes of screws, but you got to look at the pictures. Oh, it's the one with the wider ridges. I love that stuff. Let's move on to you though. So, one of the things that you work on is helping people believe in themselves, and salespeople certainly have to have confidence and belief in themselves. Yeah. How can we be better at that? Because so many people I meet, they have that negative talk in the back of their head. I'm a loser. I'm broke. Yep. All that. How can we be better at believing in ourselves?
Well, that's, what you just said. If we have those conversations, we got that little voice in the back of our head that says, you're not good enough. You're not going to be. And we are, as human beings, we are pre-programmed for negativity. If you think about it, when, as a parent, you've got kids, how many times did we have to tell our kids no? We had to tell our kids no a lot. And part of that is a safety issue. A huge part of that is keeping our spawn alive, right? So, no, you can't run into the street. No, you can't drink a boiling pot of water. I mean, so we are told no far more than we are told yes. But that again stems from, hey, there's food over here. This is good. There's danger over there. Don't go over there. And if you go over there, you're going to get eaten. So that was a survival mechanism. So we are programmed for negativity to look for the things that are going to kill us. And so your brain now is saying, you're not good enough. If you do that, that's dangerous because people might not like you. And if people don't like you, you're not in the tribe. And if you're not in the tribe, you're on your own and then you're dead. So it's that pre-programming for negativity is there. Everybody has to deal with that. It's how do you get over that? Part of that, I truly believe, I think affirmations are great. But I also think challenging yourself, doing hard things and saying, yes, I can, and watching yourself and allowing yourself to fail. All of these things are way easier if you actually have a team of people or a group of people that are supporting you. So this is a big sports example. If you look at some of the greatest sports teams of all time, they have one or two people that are standout athletes, but it takes an entire team to win a championship. And you cannot do that. You can't believe in yourself. You can't be a one-person team. And this is really hard because I'm a solo entrepreneur. I mean, I'm my own company. I'm my CEO. I'm the secretary. I'm the janitor. I'm the everything. And so, right, we got to do what we got to do. But if you can have those people, those support people in your life that are helping you out, that when you have a down day, when you have a day where you're just like, oh my gosh, nothing went right. This is terrible. Like what? I shouldn't do this anymore. I'm never going to be a speaker again because I just suck at it. And I can get on the phone with you and I have a couple of common friends, Greg Kettner. I'll call Kettner and he's on call and I'll be like, dude, can I just talk to you for 5 minutes? And he's like, sure, bring it on. And he'll talk to me for 5 minutes and he's a support system that way that says, hey, you know what? Yeah, that's okay. Hey, you failed. No big deal. What are you going to do about it? And he'll kind of help pull me out of that. And I'll do the same for him because we, as speakers, as entrepreneurs, as comedians, you're probably going to fail quite a bit. And that's the best way to learn. It's the people that don't give up, the people that keep going, the people that have a strong support system that say, you can do this. We believe in you. Now, we'll believe in you until you believe in yourself. We'll love you until you love yourself. That, I think, is John Maxwell. I love that. That's a great, but they really do create a team of people that support each other. And if you have those people, you're bound to be successful because you're going to do the things that just get you there. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah, I'm so with you. Everybody needs somebody or somebodies in their life who can talk them off the ledge and bring them back to who they really are. My mentor in the speaking and training business taught me literally everything I know about it. Just an amazing guy. But he calls me sometimes. I'll get a call like, hey, Geoff, it's Steve. I'm in Dubai and I just need a dose of Geoff. And he knows I'm good at bringing them back up. I'm good at listening to people. Kettner, perfect example. We all need somebody in that, I don't know brain science the way you do, but I do know the brain science of sales. And we are wired up to think negatively when we're buying. When a prospect is listening to a salesperson talk, they're typically thinking, what if this goes wrong? What if I make, we talked about consequences for every action. Yeah. What if it goes wrong? What if I make a bad decision? Am I going to lose my job? Am I going to lose money in my company? So we have to consistently help our prospect come back to what if it does work out? And I think it's the same thing in life. What if we're so what if on the negative, but there's the flip side of that is things can work out and often do. And I'm with you about affirmations. I start every morning walking my dog, and I've said this before on this podcast, but I'm pretty sure my neighbors think I'm a gibbering idiot because I put a physical smile, a literal smile on my face because it releases endorphins and makes you feel better. So I'm walking my dog and speaking out loud to myself. Today's going to be an incredibly great day. Only wonderful things are going to happen to myself and my family today. And it goes on for about 10 minutes. But I think that's a much more powerful way to start your day than, I can't believe I have to go to work again. I'm blessed that I love what I do, so I'm always excited to get to work.
Yep.
Don't get me wrong; I'd rather win 700 million in Powerball, but and then I just devote myself 100% to stand-up comedy. But I truly love what I do. I love having conversations like this. I love helping people make more money when they're selling. So I think I'm kind of blessed in that way. But I think we all can almost talk ourselves into happiness, success, whatever we want, and we're able to talk ourselves out of that too.
Yep. Oh yeah. And that's amazing because we've been doing affirmations with my children for a very long time since they could talk. And we started off with just a few, and over time they added their own. And so now it's up to, I want to say it's something like 30 affirmations that they say on a daily basis, where it's, I choose happiness, I choose kindness, I choose to be a leader, I choose to be athletic and healthy. And they just go on and on and on. And it's the things that they need to hear for themselves. But this is really cool. And I love, we have children and we get the stories, right? That they choose leadership. They choose to be a leader is one of their affirmations. And every time I've talked to a coach or coaches, teammates, parents, they're always like, your kids are so great. They're so like, they're engaging. They love other people. They're just fun to be around. They've always got a smile on their face. They're great leaders. And I was like, I don't know if that's like, the affirmations, but for me, it's an affirmation of the affirmations because it's showing up and people are recognizing it. So those things do matter. The message that you tell yourself over and over again becomes that neural pathway. So positive or negative, that choice is yours. We're pre-programmed for negativity. You got to work hard to make it positive.
Yeah, I think we become what we speak.
Absolutely.
Both the little voice in our heads and out loud. Look, Howard Stern is the king of all media. Why? Because he called himself that over and over and over. Kind of like Donald Trump says anything, it becomes the truth. Howard Stern said it over and over, and suddenly the media is calling him the king of all media, and he is. I don't listen to him anymore, but what we speak, we become. And by the way, I got to tell you, I love the word choice that your kids are using. I believe in sales, one word can be the difference. The word you choose to use can be the difference between a sale and not. I love, I choose happiness. I choose leadership. That's brilliant. Because we really do, through all my personal development work, I've found that when we take responsibility for our lives by realizing everything we do is a choice, it gives us great power to become that magnificent human being that you and I are trying to turn our kids into, and that we all really want to be at the end of the day.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Let's see. Oh, it looks like that good morning, gentlemen, was from our friend Valerie Heffron. She said, hi, gents, me again. When you are in a negative state of mind, do you still push forward with sales conversations, or do you choose to break until you snap out of it? What do you think?
Oh, as soon as it becomes drudgery, if I can, okay, one bad call, that's not a problem. Two bad calls, probably still not a problem. If I get to 5 or 6 and I'm like, I'm starting to feel like I'm in a funk, I'm going to break that pattern. I'm going to start something new. I'm going to do, a little bit of exercise. I'll do like 5 or 10 push-ups and then some squats. I'll get my heart rate up. I'll smile. I'll do something that makes me laugh. And in a matter of minutes, I've changed my physiological being. Physiologically, you are different. Your brain chemistry starts to work different when you laugh, when you exercise. Those things change who you are as a human being. So it will break you out of that funk. Do whatever makes you happy. Do something that makes you happy, that brings you a little bit of joy, and that will start you on a different pathway. Because nobody wants to do drudgery. I mean, what was the keep your nose to the ground, your shoulder on the grindstone. And I was like, gosh, you do that, you're just going to rub your nose off and get a sore shoulder. Why not think smarter? Why not get like 5 or 6 friends to come over and help push this stupid stone? Right. So it's that breaking where you feel like you need a break. If it's the first call every time and you're like, oh, I need a break, you probably got a problem. You probably need to think about what you're doing and why you're doing it, versus, hey, I'm 37 calls in today and I'm tired. Great, take a break, because you need it. Because you're not your best if you're exhausted. You're not your best if you're tired. And so that will come through in every conversation you have. And even if you start off, hey, I've been doing this for a really long time today. I'm going to do this as quick as possible. Is that okay with you? Again, permission marketing, right?
Yep.
Great. I'm going to take 90 seconds of your time, and then you tell me if you want to say yes or no to going on to a further conversation.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Look, I'm a guy who preaches consistency, especially we'll stick with prospecting. You got to prospect consistently. You got to do it every day, whether it's a little bit or a lot. You have to figure out what's right for you, but every single day. But if you're not feeling it one day, skip it if you have to. Delay it if you have to. If you backed out of your driveway and ran over your cat and then got a speeding ticket on the way to work, and now you got to sit and be Mr. or Ms. Happy on the phone, it's going to be difficult. Put it off to the afternoon, skip a day, but do twice as much tomorrow. So Yeah, Valerie, I agree with Geoff. We've got Geoff and Geoff both agreeing. Yeah, if you're not feeling it, take a break or do something else. Just like I always suggest, said it before, just like you create a playlist in iTunes or wherever you're holding your music, create a comedy playlist. I have a bunch of clips that I can just put on at any time that I know are going to make me laugh and brings me right back. So no matter what you have to do to psych yourself back up, I would agree with Geoff. Do that. If you're in the middle of this is horrible, people are going to feel it. Even if you're good enough to hide it, somehow it always comes through in your tone of voice. So that's that. We're in agreement here, Val. Take that break and do what you need to do to get back on track. Now, you say the best way of building and retaining a healthy and thriving relationship is through communication. I don't think anybody would disagree with that, but how can salespeople communicate more effectively?
Wow, that's a big one. Oh man. Your words are one thing, your actions are another. If your actions follow your words, that builds trust. And if you are trustworthy as a salesman, people are going to buy from you. We already know people buy from people they know, like, and trust. So how do you get to know people? How do they get to like you? And how do they get to trust you? There's a very, it's a process. You have to have the credentials. You have to have the ability to do what you're going to say. They have to have some sense of intimacy with you. Now, I'm not talking romantic intimacy. I'm thinking they have to know you just a little bit. So when we are talking to a potential client, it's hey, what's going on in your life? How's your family? If you know a little bit about them, you just have to have certain points of connection, and enough points of connection makes you a person that's on their team. And so finding out those things, depending on the process of what you're selling, if you're trying to sell a little widget that's 75 cents, you don't need a whole lot of connection. If you're trying to sell a $100,000 program, you're going to need a lot more connection and time to build that intimacy, to build that trust, because it's a much more significant investment. I'm a huge fan of the DISC assessment, and looking at those, because it's behavioral versus personality based. When I watch somebody do something, I can say, oh, this is their behavior. This is how they walk. This is how they hold their arms. This is how they talk. Oh, I can see their facial. They use lots of these things. Okay, they're probably high I. Okay, this person, their value is time. They're going to come in. What's this, this, and this? Okay, cool. I want it. Yes or no. Okay, probably a high D. High C, I'm going to look at, and they're going to go, I want all the details. I want the specs. I want the 1,000 reviews. I'm going to read them all, every single one of them. I'm like, okay, cool. So if you can look at somebody's behavior and you get a sense of the kind of sale that they're going to be, is it going to take a long time? Is it going to be short and fast? High eyes, they buy right away. They're like, yes or no. They're like, hey, it's got leather interior. Yes, I'll take it. Cool. It's got the right color. Great. Sign me up. So if you know, one, your potential client, two, you have the ability to get to know them a little bit, to create that sense of intimacy so that they feel like they know you. They know you on a first name basis. I'm like, hey, Geoff, how's it going? I see you on the street. Geoff, what's going on? You've already created intimacy. That's good. And then that you have the ability to do what you're going to say, and you do it consistently. If you develop those things, you're probably going to have much higher sales. And then here's the kicker. I'm sure that you've probably heard this, but your happiest salespeople do 37% more sales than they're not happy people. So develop happiness. Do things that make you happy, because it will come through in everything that you do. Happy people want to be around them, because we are inundated with negativity in every aspect, like social media, the news, people around us. We are inundated with negativity. If you're the happiness, that little bright sunshiny thing, hi, that's my cat's tail there. If you are that a little bit bright shining spot in the darkness, I can tell you right now that people will flock to you. People will want to be around you because you're happy, truly, truly, truly happy. And that makes a huge difference.
Watch any room. There's always somebody who just feels like a magnet. It's typically not somebody who's pissed off.
No.
Yeah. By the way, as you can imagine, I'm a high D. And I love what you said about, it's your words and your actions. I just started taking an improv course this week to get better at comedy. And one of the exercises we did was talking about how it's not just what you say in comedy or in improv, it's how you're holding your body and the thing you do. We did a bunch of cool, kind of wacky but cool exercises that show, without speaking, how you can communicate with somebody. And Yeah, it's the whole package. And if you're leaving out, if you just think you're going to speak and they're going to get it, people are dealing with people, and they're looking at everything, whether they're conscious of it or not. They're taking in all that information. So how you hold yourself, all that stuff's crucial.
Oh yeah, tone of voice, eyes, body language. Yes. Really? That's a yes? Okay.
I got it. Now, I know the answer to this, but I want to hear your definition. What exactly is team building, and how do you do it? Because everybody wants to be on a high performing team, and most companies, most organizations struggle with that. So, what is team building, and how do you actually do it?
Oh man, that's a loaded question. That's probably the thing I like to do the most, is the team building aspect of things, because I love to bring people together. I truly, truly believe that everybody wants to be a winner and everybody wants to be on a winning team. Now, your different roles within that will change. You've got people that want to support a winning team. You've got people that want to be the star quarterback of the winning team. You've got people that want to say, I'm going to run defense. I'm going to run, make sure you can do what you need to do so that we can win, because you're really great at that thing, But if you put those people together, and you've got the cheerleader, you've got the quarterback, you've got people running defense, you've got the people taking care of each other, that's a winning team. The hard part is, how do you do that? And a huge part of that is communication, trust, finding out, making sure people in the right role. Honestly, if you've got, most organizations are, the ones that I work with anyway. By the way, I've worked with like startups, brand new. I've worked with solopreneurs. I've worked with nonprofits. I've worked with multi-billion-dollar companies, and they all want to win. It's just what does a win? So even just defining, what does a win look like? And everybody's on the same page. Say, okay, this is what the win is. If we can do this, that's a win. Every single day I've been working on my construction project, we set what's the win for the day and what's an exceptional win. And then, hey, this is the Super Bowl. We just won the Super Bowl. And strangely enough, every single day we've hit our middle. We haven't quite hit our Super Bowl yet, but we've gone above what we thought was a win. And so just setting that tone of, this is what we're going for. This is a win. We get there, we're happy, we can call it quits. Hey, guess what? We got another 2.5 hours of daylight. We're going to go a little further. And so now, everybody's on the same page with, what does a win look like? Now you can start to say, what are our roles? Who's going to do what to get us the win? And so part of that is very clear communication and clarity in who is doing what. What responsibilities does each person have in the team? What are you bringing to the table? How does that integrate with everybody else's skill set? Because if you've got a high D and they put you at the front desk where people are going to ask you stupid questions, that's probably not going to be, yeah, exactly. I'm a high I. I love people, but I get real tired and I'm like, okay, go. Let's go fast here. Let's go fast. Okay. Yeah. Next question. That was a stupid question. What's your name? I don't know. Go away. Okay. So you have to have people in the right roles. If you're not in the right role, you're going to start to find that drudgery. You're going to be like, oh, this is really hard. I don't like it. And it's going to start to weigh you down, and you're not going to be as effective in your role in the organization. But if you're in the right spot and you've got people supporting you and you've got a team backing you up, all of a sudden, everything gets better. So building those teams, for me, what I do is I always come in and I talk about, we actually play. We use play as the catalyst to have conversations. And sometimes those conversations are not comfortable. You have to have the intimacy and the trust to be able to have a challenging or difficult conversation with somebody, because behaviors, human beings, we're going to do this naturally with somebody. And if that person is on your team, how do we take this to this? That's a process. And it's not something that happens overnight. I think everybody thinks that, oh, we did a team build. Great. Now we're good. Doesn't work that way. It's consistency of behavior. And so oftentimes when I work with a team, I'll go in and I'll do an event for them, but then we'll do like some, every, 4 or 5 weeks, we'll do a check-in, we'll do something online, or I've even gone back in and said, all right, here we go. We're doing this curriculum. And for the next 12 weeks, we're going to go over these things. And every single time you see me, there's going to be an aspect of play. We're going to have fun. You know that we're going to have some conversations that might get uncomfortable, but at the same time, because you've had fun and you've laughed with other people, I can't remember who said it, but and I don't know where this came from. I don't know. Maybe you know. It's a comedy thing, but it's physically impossible to hate somebody if you're laughing with them. Yeah, not at them. That's different. Not laughing at somebody. But if you are both watching something and this is the person that you don't like at all, like you loathe this person, and all of a sudden you're both laughing at the same thing, in that moment, you're connected.
Commonality.
Yep, you have a commonality. And so, sorry, you can't hate them at that moment. So building those teams, I use play, conversations, engagement, to try and get people to talk to each other, to build that sense of intimacy, to build that connection, to know enough about the people around you that you actually care. If you care about the people you work with, that's a huge win. For me, that's a win. Yeah.
Love that. As you can imagine, as a high D, I'm the last person you want to be putting at the front desk to take stupid questions, because what they're going to hear all day is, really?
Yep.
We talked a little bit before we came on. I said, I have no patience. I have zero patience for stupidity. I'm just not good with that. Let somebody else deal with that part.
Yeah.
So how can we play more and still be productive?
That's a great question. So here's the thing is that the play actually increases your productivity. And so if you take those moments, you take those breaks, it's the axe cutter. You got two guys with axes and they're out there cutting wood. And one kid just goes all day long and he's cutting wood and he's cutting wood. And the older guy, well, guess what? Every 20, 30 minutes, he stops, has a little drink of water, sharpens his axe, and then goes back at it. And at the end of the day, the guy with a sharp axe has more wood. Why? Because he has a sharp axe. Your mind, your body, your emotions are your axe. And you've got to keep those things sharp. If you're actually taking the time to play, to have a little bit of fun, to enjoy parts of your day, it doesn't have to be. A lot of people think like, okay, cool, I'm going to play, I'm going to go on vacation. Well, that's great. You should have a vacation. Your vacation should not be work-based. It should be exactly that, a vacation. But in the workplace, if you can add moments of play, moments of playfulness, time to regroup. You do your email in the morning. Great. That takes you 45 minutes or an hour. Okay, great. Take a break. Take that 5 or 10 minutes, grab a coffee, take a little walk, say hi to some people, watch a 2-minute clip of, your favorite comedy, laugh, get back into it. Now you're focused. And if we're focused, we know that you can, it's easy to get busy and you can go, oh my gosh, I was so busy today and nothing got done. You lacked focus. You did a bunch of stuff, but none of it mattered. What are the high value things? What are the things that are going to actually make you money or help you towards that win? What are the things that are going to actually make a difference in your life? If you focus on those things and do those things, that is going to make the difference. But a lot of times those things that are those big high value activities take energy and they take focus. So if you take a moment to actually focus, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to give myself an hour. I can do this. Cue up my music. I got my Rocky. I'm like, dun, 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 dun. Okay, I'm ready. Let's go. You pump yourself up and you do it. You do the work. And all of a sudden, 60 minutes later, you're like, holy crap, I got that. I thought it was going to take me 90 minutes. I got it done in 60. Reward yourself. Great. I'm going to take a lap around the building. My Rocky pose. I did it. Yeah. Right? So you can add that fun. That fun actually helps you to focus. It helps you to be more productive. So adding fun actually makes your day more productive. Now, if you have too much fun, that's a difference. There's a line, there's a balance, because you got to get stuff done. I know that that's one of the biggest, hardest things is that people say, well, people are having fun at work. They're not actually doing anything. That's the biggest mind shift that we've got to get people to realize is that fun actually creates focus and more productivity because your people are actually mentally ready to do the job. So that's been probably one of the harder things to get people to realize is that fun does have a place in the workplace.
Yeah. Well, one of the first things I work on with most coaching clients is understanding the difference between being busy and being productive. I've seen lots and lots of very, very busy salespeople and sales executives, but they're often busy but not productive. Yep. You can be very busy and not be productive at all, but it's very difficult to do the reverse. It's hard to be productive without being busy. So, correct. And by the way, I'm a master at being busy. I wrote a book called Leverage Your Laziness, all about how to do that. Yeah, but
I'm gonna have to get that one.
I'll get your address before we go, and I'll send you one. But yeah, you could be as busy as you want, but unless you're actually getting the job done, you've kind of wasted your time. Is this just something you've made up, or is there any science behind what you do?
Oh, there's a lot of science behind it. So you already said one. You said endorphins. When you release endorphins, those help you feel good. So you have dopamine, endorphins, dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin. And so endorphins and dopamine are, we call the selfish chemicals. Those are the chemicals for you. So those ones are, your endorphins are actual natural opiates. They actually mask pain. So when we were, I think you and I were talking about, the mentality of pain, that if you actually, you release the endorphins and it masks that pain. So if you've laughed so hard, you've actually gotten a side ache. That side ache was there a long time before you felt it. Your endorphins were actually masking that pain. So that's awesome. That's great. Helps you get through your day, right? Endorphins, dopamine is, it's that everybody's a dopamine addict. We get dopamine. It's the motivation drug. And so if you see your goal, you get a little hit of dopamine. You move one step closer, you get a hit of dopamine. You get another step closer, more dopamine, and it moves you towards that goal setting and the things that you want to get in your life. Serotonin, oxytocin, those are like the people chemicals. Those are the ones that can share. Serotonin, happiness, also has a lot to do with digestion and sexual health, strangely enough. And so the serotonin is shareable. You can share that with other people. You do something kind or something good for somebody else. You both get a shot of serotonin. You're like, oh, that was nice. Humans are good. We like those things, right? But then you're both more likely to go out and help other people because you got that boost of serotonin. Anybody that watched you do something good for somebody else gets a little shot of serotonin. And when they tell the story, I saw this person help somebody out today. It was so great. Everybody that listens to the story gets that same little burst of serotonin. It's a chemical that is shared, and it helps us to interact positively with each other. And then oxytocin, liquid love, everybody loves it. For those of you that are parents out there, the moment you have a child, that whole birthing process is kind of messy and scary, right? It's a terrifying process. As a man, it was the most helpless I ever felt in my entire life. And then all of a sudden, this little tiny slimy alien looking thing is like popped out, and I'm like, oh, I'm madly in love. And I held my baby for the first time, and then I cried, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I want another one, And then so that's that oxytocin. It helps us to actually build those strong bonds between people. Now, it's not always like a parent and child. It could be, siblings. It can be coworker. It could be boss. It can be, athlete and coach. It can be all these educator, teacher, mentor. The things that we do that build that trust, that build that I really care about you as a human being. That's the science behind it. If you can start to release those things intentionally with other people, knowing that this builds community, this builds trust, doing activities that help with those chemical releases in other people it's a no-brainer. It just makes sense, because then you're starting to build community, you're building trust, you're building people up mentally and emotionally, and that's pretty cool. So there's a lot of science behind it.
Yeah, that's super cool. And it's so funny how a word or a sound can bring you back to a feeling like that, like music. You hear music and you can remember, when you heard, like, I'm a little older than you. I can remember when I heard a Beatles song for the first time. And if I hear that song, it brings me back to that moment and happiness. And as you were just speaking, I was remembering when my now ex-wife delivered our first child. I'm standing next to her and, breathe, 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 that whole thing that you go through. And she's, ready to kill me. And at one point, the baby nurse said, come over here and take a look at this. And she pointed to my, at the time, wife's nether regions. And there was something weird coming out of it. And I said, what the hell is that? She goes, that's your baby's head. And I still remember that feeling of, oh my God. And as you were speaking, it was like that, oh my God. And like a rush of joy just came over me as you were saying that. So it's amazing how powerful the brain is. And, we can actually harness that power. I use music that way constantly.
Oh yeah.
I have songs that I'll play because I know that song is all I need to hear, and I'm in a great mood. I'm normally in a great mood anyways, because that's just who I am. But I believe in having the tools at your fingertips, because look, I don't care. You can be the most positive person in the world. At some point, there's some negativity that you just can't get away from. So you got to have some way of pulling it out, right?
I actually have a don't kill people on the freeway playlist.
I think I need that one because that one is my sore spot. It's a good thing I'm not licensed to carry a gun with me because a lot of people would be dead. Traffic is and bad drivers are my real pet peeve.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I have to go to LA next week. I was working in LA all week and I'm like, oh, okay. Make sure I got the playlist. I got it all queued up. It's ready to go. We should be okay.
Do you really call it my "Don't Kill People on the Highway" playlist?
Yes.
Oh, I love that. Hey, you also practice jujitsu.
Oh yeah.
Why and does it help you do your job? And if so, how?
I will say yes, it does help me do my job. One, it's phenomenal physical activity, so it releases the dopamine and the endorphins. So there is nothing like actually physical combat with another person that you care about. Like I care about all my jiu-jitsu teammates. We don't want to hurt each other, but we do want to beat each other up. And so it is the most like the release. Like you can't think of anything else. You have to be in the moment. And so it teaches you a couple of things. Number one is being present. There is no other way to be. If you're thinking about something else, you're going out, you're going unconscious, or you're getting armbarred or something like that. Number two is that it teaches you to think and it teaches you confidence. So I go into a situation, you carry yourself differently. Okay, cool. I'm okay. I'm comfortable with physical contact. I'm comfortable with if somebody rushes me. I'm comfortable with confrontation because I'm okay with that. I know that I can physically take care of myself. And so I think martial arts in general really help people with that sense of confidence. I see it especially, I do a lot of work with like younger, like kids class and then young ladies where I'm like watching these girls that all of a sudden they walk in and they're very timid. And by the time they're in there for, 6 months, all of a sudden they're walking their shoulders are back, their chest is high, and they're looking for like, yeah, let's go. Come on. And that change in how they carry themselves, I'm like, yeah, nobody's going to mess with you, kid. Sorry. Which is awesome. Yeah.
I love that. I'm not a big fan of physical pain, so I'm not into that kind of thing. But comedy is actually the same thing. You've got to be very in the moment. If your mind drifts off, first of all, you're probably going to blow your joke, and you can't see how the audience is reacting. One of my favorite things is when somebody from the audience does say something, and I'm actually able to interact with them.
Yeah.
But if you're not in the moment, you're completely lost. And one of the things I both like and hate about stand-up is people let you know immediately. It's either immediate love or boy, oh boy, you really blew it. And I was at a show the other day waiting to go on, and I as opposed to most comedians who are backstage, BSing with each other. I just love to watch stand-up. So I'm standing there watching people and I'm going, oh my God, I mean, just painfulness. And I can see that the person up there, they're just not paying attention to themselves. You've got to be paying attention to the audience and yourself at the same time. Otherwise, you're actually going to get hit, not physically, but you're going to get smacked in the face, and it's not going to be pleasant. I hate to say this, but we're almost out of time, and I could talk
fast.
Let's just one more question. When you speak, you make connections with people of all ages, all backgrounds, all levels of experience, and salespeople need to connect with their prospects. Any quick tips for creating connection from nothing? How do you do that?
Oh man, biggest one, smile. You have mirror neurons. So, and this is genetic. So when a baby smiles at you, what do you automatically do? You automatically, you cannot not smile, right? So that's mirror neurons. And so if you are with somebody, the very first thing is when you just approach them with a smile because it's disarming. It says, I'm okay. I'm here to help you, and as long as you don't have government ID on your shirt, I'm here to help you is not scary. So if you actually go in with a smile and genuine interest in helping another human being, I can tell you this is comedy with jujitsu, intention in the moment of I'm here to help somebody else. I'm here to, with jujitsu, I'm here to make my teammates better, to help us all get better at what we do. With comedy, I'm here to help you laugh. I'm here to help this person. If we come at it that way, it changes your demeanor. I'm here to help you get the thing that you need. Okay, let's do this. And that smile, it comes across and it's going to create an instant connection. And you can see if somebody's grouchy, coming at them, matching energy to energy. So smile and match energy. if somebody's super excited, like, oh my gosh, how's it going? You seem really excited. What's going on? What can I do to help you today? Versus somebody's like real, like, hey, I can see that you're here. Are you doing okay? Is there anything that you need to make today a success for you? You know, matching that energy and smiling. I think those are for salespeople, just easy tips that take a little bit of practice, and then it becomes a part of what you do, and it becomes who you are.
Yeah, you also said something which triggered something else for me. It's that come from of serving others, and our mutual friend Greg Kettner, and I've shared this on this podcast before, but I'll just make it very quick. I was talking to him after I'd started doing stand up, and I was telling him how much I love getting laughs. I love to be on the stage getting laughs, and he actually changed my life with one sentence. He goes, "Here's what I urge you to do: stop trying to get laughs and come from giving laughs."
Mm-hmm.
And I think we were on a Zoom call. I went, yeah, that makes sense. And I've told this before. I was later on, I was driving that day, and I actually pulled over because it popped into my head. I'm like, giving laughs instead of getting laughs. It was really a life-changing moment. So now when I get on the stage, it's like, how can I give the gift of laughter to this audience instead of how can I, Geoff, feel good because you're laughing with me or laughing at me? I don't care which one it is, but it's that generosity that really makes a difference. I love that.
And it's the mind. It's brilliant. I was just going to say, it's the mindset. It's that simple shift. I'm getting something to I'm giving. Absolutely. Yeah. It's life-changing.
Absolutely. Generosity. Geoff, I'm sharing my screen right now. How can people reach you? You're a professional speaker and you do team building and all kinds of other great stuff. And I know you work with, kindergartners and companies and all kinds. How can people reach you if they want to talk to you?
They can reach me at the information on the screen there. Geoff, that's Geoff, at professionalsatplay.com. You got my phone number. That's actually my phone number. You can call me. By the way, it will go directly to voicemail because my phone, I don't know how, I don't do technology, but it will go to my voicemail. Leave me a voicemail. I will call you back. And then I'm on LinkedIn at Professionals at Play and Instagram at Professionals at Play as well.
Fantastic. Geoff, thank you so much for your generosity. I really appreciate it. I love speaking with you, and anything I can do for you, it's my pleasure. And I'll end as I always do. Gang, please remember that sales is a game of making things happen. Get out there and make sales happen. Have a great weekend, everybody. Geoff, thank you so much. I'll speak with you soon. Bye, everyone.
Thank you very much. See ya.